I love you all from the bottom of my heart, and I do not wish to see you suffer. I do not wish to see anyone suffer. And I know some people get pretty pissed off at me because they think that I am picking on you. I'm not picking on you. You're picking on you. I'm pointing out that you're picking on you when you identify with that which you're not and stay identified with it and stay with that addiction. You have to, just like a person who is addicted to substances, chemicals, alcohol, drugs, you understand what I'm talking about? You have to acknowledge and tell yourself the truth that you're addicted. And what are you addicted to? You're addicted to your mind. You're addicted to thought. You're addicted to your identification with your body. Now, I know that that's a slap in the face maybe to some people. In America, not just recently, some of you may have heard of him. His name is Gerald Ford. He was a president of the United States. He just recently passed. And his wife, who is called the First Lady in America when he was the president, was addicted to drugs and alcohol. And the family then confronted her. They surrounded her from all angles and would not let her get away with slipping away when they confronted her and told her, you're addicted. The sons and daughters and the president himself, you're addicted. You're addicted to drugs. You're addicted to alcohol. You have a changed personality. You're not being yourself. Are you with me in this? Yeah. Get the analogy in this. Get the analogy. Well, the analogy is that each one that are still identified with your body and the mind and still thinking that I come in and I'm out, that's your addiction, and stuck and caught in the addiction, I'm not judging. That are still caught and stuck in the addiction need to look and see that you're addicted. Now you want to stay with the addiction, with your body mind as though that's who you are, and still guru hop, go all over the place and think you're going to find somebody that's going to help you with your addiction when you keep on thinking. Just like if you were an alcoholic, you keep going from club to club, continuing to have another drink, thinking that you're going to get free of your addiction to alcohol. Does anybody understand what I'm talking about? Well, I got news for you. This addiction to body-mind identification is far more insidious even than the addiction to alcohol or drugs. Because you're going to stay with it and stay with it from body to body to body to body. If you don't get free of it in this body, you're going to stay with it from body to body to body to body. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I love you, and I'm sharing this with you out of love. You have to begin to start doing something about it. Well, how do you do it? That's what AHAM is. So, well then what are you doing? Putting a pitch on me for our programs? Well, that's what our programs are. If you'd like to be free of your addiction and stay with the teaching and not be running all over and still staying identified with the body, you've got to stay in the process. You've got to stay with the inquiry. That means you have to inquire without ceasing. Now tell yourself the truth. Every one of you in this room, probably, I guess, I don't know this gentleman. Have you been in this room with me in years past?
Yes.
Okay, well then that's everyone in this room has been with me where I have said inquire without ceasing. Inquire without ceasing. Inquire without ceasing. As long as you're still identified with your body and your mind as being you got to keep and you got to stay with the inquiry. Now, if you're staying with the inquiry, that means you don't think, you inquire. You get in touch with this awareness that is I am, or the notice when thoughts are happening, and inquire to whom are the thoughts are happening, and you stay with the inquiry, and you'll transcend the body mind. What do you do when you follow the I thought back? What happens? When you get a hold of the I thought and stay with the I thought, hold on to the I thought, what happens?
It dissolves.
Huh?
It dissolves.
Who said it?
It dissolves.
Yes, it dissolves. Then you say, well, it comes back. Well, what happens if it comes back? What do? Huh? You say, oh, well, it came back. Now I'm just going to entertain it. No, that's the source of suffering. That's the cause of suffering. So if it comes back, you stay with the inquiry. You go back to the inquiry until it dissolves again. And if you stay with this process, what you end up doing is emptying your mind of all of its content, and all of the content of the mind is what keeps giving rise to more thoughts. And all of these thoughts that are the content of your mind is what's going to keep you identified with your mind and giving you the feeling, well, I just in and out. I'm just back and forth. I just can't seem to do it. You've got to inquire. You have to empty your mind. Now you say, my God, I don't know whether I can do that or not. That's another thought. That's another thought. Inquire into that thought. You inquire into every thought. Did I say it? What did I say? Are you inquiring into every thought? See, are you inquiring into every thought? Do you inquire with every thought? Are you inquiring in every thought? Do you watch every thought until you transcend the thinker and come back into the pure awareness, which is the self that you are? Unless you return to the self that you are and cease identifying with the self that you think you are, which is not what you are, that's with what you're not, you will never transcend the mind. I got news for you. I don't care what method you use other than inquiry. It will not take you there because you're using the mind itself in order to practice the method. But in inquiry, you're emptying the mind with every inquiry. Emptying the mind. You're chipping away, emptying it, and you keep emptying, and it'll get lighter and lighter and lighter. It'll get easier and easier and easier. You will not have the tendencies as strong, and eventually, poof, it's gone. But it's up to you. You got to do it. Now, most of these nannies on the block are not going to tell you. They're going to tell you, well, there's nothing that you can do. Many of them say, nothing you can do. There's nothing I can do. Well, I got news for you. That is called BS. I'm kind of being nice now. This might be a tape that somebody wants to listen to. You know what BS is? You know what that is? Fecal matter that bulls drop. Maybe that's acceptable. Huh? I think that's medically acceptable. I tell you something, we have to acknowledge that Bhagavan Ramana is the greatest sage that has ever lived. We're right here in the home of Bhagavan Ramana, in the spiritual home of Bhagavan Ramana, not the physical home. He wasn't concerned anymore with his physical home. He's concerned with the spiritual home. Arunachala. This is the spiritual home of the greatest sage who has ever lived, simply because he truly, directly shared with us there is a way. And I don't care what all these new nannies on the block have to say about it. Are you getting what I'm saying? Because these new nannies on the block, I have respect if they have awakened. I truly have respect for that. I'm grateful for them. If they have awakened, I'm grateful for them. But if they tell you there's nothing you can do, then understand they're full of fecal matter. Are you with that? And what they're sharing with you is fecal matter. There is something you can do. You can practice the process of inquiry. With every thought, you are dissolving the thinker. And when you have dissolved the thinker, that all that is left is the awareness, because there's no longer the thinker. That's so simple, and it is so basic, and it is so overlooked. But I'm telling you, these are facts. I have already accomplished it, and a number in our association have. Why don't you? Why not join the so-called club of the enlightened, the society of sages? You know what that is? Any questions? Okay, I love you.